Hello everyone, I hope everyone is having a great day so far. Today I wanted to spend some time and talk a little bit more about the female pelvis. And in a previous post I had mentioned that the female pelvis is just full of mystery. It is the sacred basket that carries our babies and protects our babies. It is the portal of which souls come to join us earthside. It is the home of souls that are beginning a new life here on earth. So yes, indeed, the female pelvis is quite wonderful and such a sacred part of a woman's body. So with busy lifestyles and the disconnection that people feel within their bodies, as a prenatal yoga teacher, what I help women do and work towards is building a stronger connection within their bodies and with their pelvic floor. And this connection is so important to foster because it helps to optimize labor and birth and the healing period during postpartum. But the connection to our pelvic floor is just not necessary for labor, birth, and pregnancy. It is also a good connection to make even before the journey of motherhood. So it is beneficial to any woman at any stage of life. But for today's purposes, we're going to focus on the connection to our pelvic floor, especially for mamas to be, for those who are hoping to conceive, and for those going through postpartum. So how can we foster a greater connection to our pelvic floor in a prenatal yoga class or yoga for fertility? Well, practicing asanas is just one piece of the puzzle. We also incorporate breath work, mantras, affirmations, guided meditations, visualizations. So using all of those tools in a prenatal yoga class helps moms, women, to foster a greater connection to their pelvic floor, to help bring more awareness to their pelvic floor. Okay, so let's quickly get acquainted with the female pelvis on an anatomical level. So here, the butterfly-shaped bones here are called the ilium. And this is what is the sacred basket. Our babies are cradled here when they're in the womb. Now moving in front of the pelvis, here's the pubic bone, and coming to the back is the sacrum and the tailbone. And at the bottom of the pelvis here are our sit bones. And so if you're in that yoga class and you keep hearing your yoga teacher refer to ground your sit bones into your mat or connect your sit bones to the earth, this is what they're referring to. So on a side note here, sitting on your sit bones is sitting in a neutral position, right? What people tend to do if they have bad posture and whatnot is that they sit on their tailbone. Okay, and that is something that you definitely want to avoid, because if you do tend to sit on your tailbone, definitely bring awareness and correct and sit on your sit bones, because if you sit on your tailbone, what happens is that it can contribute to tightening of the pelvic floor, and it can also contribute to other reproductive health issues as well. So definitely bring awareness to your pelvic floor, to your pelvis and how you are sitting, making sure that you are in a neutral position on your sit bones. Okay, so next let's have a closer look at our pelvic floor. Now, our pelvic floor is a broad range of muscles that begin at the front of the pelvis. So from our pubic bone all the way down to our tailbone. So that is a broad range of muscle there that makes up our pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor also acts as a basket for a lot of our organs, our reproductive organs, our bladder, and so forth. So definitely maintaining the health of our pelvic floor is crucial. Okay, so let's have a look at our pelvic floor from the outside right here. So here we have the urethra, the vaginal opening, our perineal muscles, and our anus. So looking into our pelvic floor from the top, we have three main muscle layers. So from the vaginal opening towards your anus, we have the pubococcygeus, the iliococcygeus, and the coccygeus muscles that are some of the main muscles in your pelvic floor. Now, it is often a misconception that in order to strengthen our pelvic floor, to activate our pelvic floor, is that we need to tighten our urethral muscles, which is only a fraction of our pelvic floor, right? Our urethra is right around here. So doing Kegels, for example, is just only activating part of our pelvic floor. And now, as you can see, our pelvic floor is a broad range of muscles stemming from the pubic bone all the way to the tailbone. So to actually work with the entire pelvic floor, we need to stop relying on Kegels to do that, because that is only working a fraction of our pelvic floor. So in prenatal yoga, one of the ways that we work with our pelvic floor is through breath. And so how do we activate or connect with our pelvic floor through breath? Well, we have to understand, first and foremost, how our pelvic floor works with breath. So the pelvic floor is one of 5 diaphragms within our body. And so the diaphragm that we are very well acquainted with is the diaphragm within our abdominal cavity. And so like our abdominal cavity, when we inhale, we can feel our diaphragm lower and expand. And on our exhale, we can feel our diaphragm in our abdominal cavity relax and move upwards. And so that is very much like our pelvic floor. So when we inhale, our pelvic floor does the exact same thing that our diaphragm in our abdominal cavity does. It expands and moves downward. And when we exhale, the pelvic floor starts to relax and it moves upward. So in order to give you a better idea of what your pelvic floor is actually doing, let's use a little bit of visualization. And so this is what I like to call my breathing ball. I use this in kids yoga to help guide their breathing, and it gives them a great visual. So anyways, let's use our breathing ball to demonstrate exactly what your pelvic floor is doing. And if you hear my kids screaming in the background, I apologize. All right, so let's imagine that here at the bottom of the breathing ball is your pelvic floor. On your inhale, what your pelvic floor is doing, it's expanding and moving downward. On your exhale, it is going to relax and it's going to move upward. Okay, and so that is exactly what your pelvic floor is doing along with the other diaphragms in your body. It's expanding and lowering on your inhales, and it is relaxing and moving upwards on your exhales. So let's practice together by using our breath to connect with our pelvic floor. So what you want to make sure that you're doing first and foremost is sitting in a comfortable seated position with your sit bones grounded into either a yoga blanket, a yoga block on the lowest level. You can try this on the edge of a chair, up to you. But when you do find a comfortable seated position on your sit bones, you just want to make sure that you kind of bring your pelvis forward on a slight tilt, and make sure that there's nothing underneath you that is hampering your pelvic floor from expanding freely. So that's why we want to bring it on a tilt and sit on the edge of a yoga blanket or a block. And once you find that comfortable position, I invite you to either place your hands over your womb space. I also invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you too. So whatever it is that feels comfortable for you, I just want you to pay attention to the natural rise and fall of your chest as you inhale and exhale. Just spend a few moments here just focusing on your breath. Next, I want you to bring your awareness all the way down to your pelvic floor. And we're going to inhale, a nice, long, deep inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold it here. Feel the expansion. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that one more time. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. And hold it. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, well, there you have it. There's a breathing practice that you can implement today, anywhere, pretty much. And don't be discouraged if you are unable to feel the subtleties of your pelvic floor with your breath. This is something that is a little bit more trickier to feel because the movements are just so subtle, but over time, as you practice this breathing method to connect with your pelvic floor, their awareness will increase. So don't be discouraged, just keep at it on a daily basis, make it a daily practice to connect with your pelvic floor. And I should also mention that we are breathing into our pelvic floor, okay? We are just trying to understand and activate our pelvic floor and to understand its subtle movements, its subtle muscular movements. We are not trying to squeeze and tighten, where I think a lot of people think that that's what you need to do to strengthen your pelvic floor. I think maybe there are times when you want to do that, but I think it is not the most beneficial thing to do on a daily basis because that can, again, contribute to tightening of the pelvic floor, and that can also interfere with your reproductive health. So you definitely don't want to be squeezing and tightening your pelvic floor because just for those reasons, right? Our pelvic floor is meant to expand and move and flow. And so with tuning in with our breath, tuning into our pelvic floor with our breath does wonders. It's more than enough. So I encourage you to give it a try today. Let me know how it goes. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to send me a DM or even visit my website to get in touch. And join me for a free guided meditation by visiting the link in my bio. This is perfect for mamas-to-be, perfect for those who are hoping to conceive soon. This is just a great meditation to help connect you with your womb space and with your pelvic floor and for this time in your life. Also, don't forget, if you're visiting my website, www.healinghints.com, I have a workshop for mamas-to-be, a specially designed workshop for mamas-to-be, rooted in yogic philosophy in order to help optimize pregnancy, labor, and birth and beyond. It's called the Enlightened Pregnancy, Birth, and Beyond Workshop. So don't forget to check that out if you are on my website. I also have some pinned posts here on Instagram, so definitely scroll up in the top of my profile. There's a lot of information on the workshop that I am offering. All right, and if you have any other questions about that workshop, please don't hesitate to send me a DM or email me. So yeah, all right. Thank you, everyone. If you guys stayed on for this long to hear what I had to say, I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye.